The entire history of the One Piece world has been erased and hidden away. All records of 100 years, the Void Century, completely gone, is what we would say if it wasn't for the Poneglyphs. Indestructible, mysterious stones scattered across the world upon which are etched the true history of the missing 100 years. And honestly, probably a lot more than just that. And only by finding and deciphering the Poneglyphs can someone find their way to Laugh Tale, claim the One Piece, and learn what is truly going on with the One Piece world as well. But where did these stones even come from? Where in the world are they actually hidden, and who actually has the ability to read them? And what are the different categories that exist amongst them? As it turns out, at this point in the story, we know a few of the answers here. The Poneglyphs were originally created by stonemasons of Wano's Kozuki Clan. We know that they're seemingly completely indestructible, and each of them have remained undamaged ever since the Void Century 800 years ago. It appears that Joy Boy's faction in the war between the Great Kingdom and the Alliance, that then later turned into the world government, knew that they'd be on the losing side against Imu, and as a sort of failsafe to preserve the true history from being completely erased and leaving a bunch of instructions to their followers, they created the Poneglyphs in the hope that someday someone would be able to uncover the truth, find Laugh Tale, and bring a new dawn and end the world government's rule hundreds of years into the future. Nefertari di Lily, one of the founders of the world government, one of the original 20 kings, actually played a crucial role, ironically, in allowing these stones to be hidden throughout the world, if not actively spreading them. Imu calls this Lily's great mistake, and after they were spread, she then mysteriously disappeared, never to be seen again. The Poneglyphs' locations seem to have also been very intentionally chosen as well, with many of them being located in Joy Boy-aligned countries such as Fishman Island here, Zou, Wano, or Alabasta, and many of these societies were given direct instructions to guard the Poneglyphs with their life and civilization itself, as mentioned by the people of Shandora on Sky Island. Also, according to Big Mom subordinate here, Baron Tamago, there are roughly 30 Poneglyphs scattered throughout the world, and we do know the locations of 14 of them. It's kind of weird that we got the most comprehensive breakdown of Poneglyphs and their types from this Eggman out of all characters, but here we are. Alright, this is how they split up. There are 4 Road Poneglyphs that guide the way to Laugh Tale, 9 Historical Poneglyphs that together make up the Rio Poneglyph, which reveals the true history of the Void Century, the missing 100 years. And then there are 17 other Poneglyphs that include kind of everything else, such as locations of other Poneglyphs, of ancient weapons, letters of apology. And actually, speaking of the locations of the Poneglyphs, where exactly on the One Piece world are these things? And let's start with the most important ones, at least right now for the story and for Luffy finding Laugh Tale, which are the 4 Road Poneglyphs that are the only ones that have this red color. By putting together the information of all 4 of the Road Poneglyphs, you supposedly can reveal the secret location of the Grand Line's true hidden final island, Laugh Tale. So whoever's gonna claim the One Piece needs to, at the very least, start collecting all 4 of these Road Poneglyphs in order to even have a chance to get there. I personally would assume that there's a lot more than just collecting 4 Road Poneglyphs before you just become Pirate King, but hey, this is at least the basic requirement. And as we just mentioned, you can easily tell these 4 apart from the other Poneglyphs because these ones are reddish in color, and according to Inuarashi, this dog guy here, you're actually only supposed to learn about these stones and their very existence of Laugh Tale once you've reached Lodestar Island, the official last island that can be reached along the Grand Line with a log post. But turns out that the Straw Hats and us also got some spoilers here because they found their first Road Poneglyph inside Zou's whale tree where it was hidden away and protected. And this also has got to be one of the most secure of the 4 Road Poneglyphs because Zou can't be navigated to with a log post because they don't make log poses for giant walking elephants. You basically need a Weaver card from someone who's on Zou already, and if you even manage to get there, good luck finding it because Zou is an entire country with 0 snitches, it turns out, which is why Kaido's subordinate Jack was unable to find the ninja Raizo, who was actually also hiding within that same whale tree alongside the Poneglyph. We actually also know that 2 more Road Poneglyphs were located in the territories of Emperors of the Sea, well, former emperors anyways. Big Mom stashed one of them in her treasure room in Whole Cake Chateau, though very likely didn't always stand there, it was probably transported there, but despite the high security, Brooke, the legend, managed to get an edging of that one so the Straw Hats have access to it. Actually, speaking of that, we should quickly mention that most pirates that do have Road Poneglyphs don't actually possess the physical stones themselves and carry them around all the time. Instead, it seems to be very common practice to just make a copy of what's on the stone on a piece of paper and then carry that around instead. Much secure, much more lightweight, just makes sense. Currently, the Straw Hats are in possession of copies of 3 of the 4 because there was actually another one located in Wano. That Road Poneglyph was located deep beneath the flower capital in Old Wano, the remnants of the original capital before it was flooded on purpose and they rebuilt it on higher ground. However, if you've been keeping count, very good, there is still one of these Road Poneglyphs which location is just completely unknown to this point. This one apparently used to be located on Fishman Island next to the, apology letter, which we'll get to in just a moment, but it was moved at some point, and rumor says that it's in the possession and protected by the man marked by flames. There's very little still known about this character. A lot of characters have been speculated about being this mysterious person who is in the possession of the last missing piece of the puzzle, basically. Is this guy a new character? Someone we've already seen in the story? I mean, according to Lafitte at least, the man marked by flames sails in an all-black ship, and anyone who gets too close gets sucked up by giant whirlpools that are theorized to be caused by a devil fruit power. And Shiryu suspects that whoever it is has some connection to the government. And currently, the entire race for the One Piece kind of seems to hinge on who manages to actually find this elusive character first and actually manages to get their hands on the 4th missing Road Poneglyph. But of course, even though we all kind of consider the Road Poneglyphs to be the most important ones, that doesn't mean that they necessarily are in general, because there are way more types out there. Arguably even more important, you can make a point, are the Historical Poneglyphs. Now, our girl Nico Robin is one of the only few characters in the story who can actually read the Poneglyphs and the long-lost ancient language that's on top of them, and there's actually a very specific type that she's mostly on the search for, the Rio Poneglyph. As we explained a little bit earlier, these 9 poneglyphs together collectively make up the true missing history of the 100-year Void Century, meaning that if she can find all 9 of them, she will finally learn and uncover the full truth. Now, of these 9, 4 historical poneglyphs have already been shown in the story. There was one that was being studied in the Tree of Knowledge on Ohara itself, the poneglyph that the archaeologists led by Professor Clover deciphered in Robin's backstory, which included the name of the Great Kingdom itself. And what's very peculiar about that information is that just the name alone seems to threaten to reveal so much that the Gorosei actually ordered Clover to be killed before he could ever say it out loud. The first one of these that was shown in the actual series overall, though, was in the Tomb of Kings within Arubana. And if you're now heading to the comments and say, hey, that's actually not true, Zoro found one in the desert before that, hate to break it to you, that turns out to be just anime filler. I know, kinda wild, I guess they wanted to introduce the concept earlier, but this never happened. Now, the one in the Tomb of Kings was the one that Crocodile was after so he could learn the location of Pluton, and it did in fact reveal the location as being hidden under Wano, but Robin has hidden this information from the Warlord and all of us until the end of the Wano arc itself, where, kind of Odin's father, Sukiyaki, he revealed to us that Pluton was there, and Robin was like, yeah, I know, I read it in Alabasta, which is kind of a funny way to reveal that. And actually, the location of another ancient weapon was written on the poneglyph in Shandora. Now, interestingly enough, Skypiea is also the only place where we see the same language of the poneglyphs written on some other non-poneglyph surfaces, because the same language is carved into some other ruins on Sky Island as well. However, turns out that the poneglyph located in Shandora's legendary Great Belfry provided the location of Poseidon, which, in retrospect is kind of strange since Poseidon is a living being, at least part living being, and can move from place to place. I mean, Shirahoshi isn't just stuck in Fishman Island, so it kind of makes me wonder if there's just more to the concept of Poseidon than just her powers that we know about at the moment. Kind of goes into the idea that, you know, every ancient weapon is made up of different components, a living one and a physical one, which would track a lot better with, you know, it having a fixed location. Next to the Great Belfry, Goldie Roger actually also left a message in that same writing, since he had Kozuki Oden with him on his journey, a member of the Kozuki Clan who created the original Poneglyphs, so he was able to have him carve up some basic graffiti saying, "I hereby guide this document to its end, Goldie Roger." I'm not sure about you, to me this kind of implies that it's not enough to just find Laugh Tale as we said earlier. You also really need to know the true history from the Rio Poneglyph in order to actually either get there or use whatever you actually find on Laugh Tale. You know, basically another failsafe built in by Joy Boy so that not like any old wuha could just pick up the 4 Road Poneglyphs, get there, and have like the ultimate knowledge of the universe, which, you know, responsible and makes a lot of sense. But back to Fishman Island, there wasn't only a Road Poneglyph originally located here, there's also one more historical poneglyph also located in the Sea Forest. And Robin points out specifically that this one reads very differently from any other she's read so far, less like a historical text and much more like a letter of apology. It turns out that it was written by Joy Boy himself to Fishman Island and to the princess, apologizing for something having to do with the giant Ark Noah. It turns out that he had broken or not managed to fulfill a promise in which he was supposed to return Fishman Island, probably to do something with the Noah's true purpose, but for some reason was unable to do so. Also, fun fact, Robin's reading of this poneglyph was the very first time that the name Joy Boy was ever featured in the story. Now, as you remember, aside from the Rio Poneglyphs and the Road Poneglyphs, there are actually 17 others whose content and purpose are completely unknown. At some point, Robin actually makes a statement that some of these include instructions for how to locate some of the other poneglyphs, but that's about all that we have to go for many of these. Of those remaining ones though, 7 have been shown or at least referenced in the series. There's one that Robin found as a kid during her backstory while she was hopping from place to place, just trying her best to survive and escape the government. And that's not the only one whose location is completely known to us, because there's also one that Roger found on his journey, which could basically just be anywhere in the world. Then there's a really interesting one. The poneglyph on Hachinosu. What? You don't remember there being a poneglyph on Blackbeard's Pirate Island? But that's because Oda hasn't actually drawn it in the series. He just told us about this poneglyph in a question and answer segment in volume 111, which is different from his usual SBS question corner for some reason. I don't know. Like, this poneglyph was held by the former Rocks pirate Ochoku, who ruled Hachinosu at the time after Rocks ruled over it, but when Trafalgar Law learned about the poneglyph's existence, he essentially kicked off the entire Rocky Port incident to gain access to that poneglyph specifically, and as a consolation prize at the end, Law became a warlord, Blackbeard took over Pirate Island, and Kobe became known as a hero before then being captured and brought back to Pirate Island. Then there's this one that Jinbei located in his cover story and delivered to Big Mom back when the Sun Pirates were still working under her. He actually found it along with a bunch of other underwater ruins during the cover story that Wadatsumi had thrown up in land, and brought it to the boss lady, potentially to smooth things over when he finally broke the news that he was leaving to join the Straw Hat Pirates. Now, if that was his plan, didn't work really well, but either way, the poneglyph that Jinbei gifted Big Mom joined her collection in the treasure room, where she keeps another poneglyph of also unknown purpose along with her Road Poneglyph. And weirdly enough, this makes Whole Cake Island one of the only places in the world known to house 3 poneglyphs at the same time. The only other being Wano, where in addition to the Road Poneglyph, there was also the one that Kaido kept on Onigashima, and then there was another poneglyph hidden in a secret chamber of Shogun Castle, which Brook was able to spot by going ghost mode. Speaking of, once characters do manage to locate one of those really rare stones, how can they even actually ever decipher them? Currently, as far as we know, there seem to only be 3 known characters who have the ability to actually read and translate a poneglyph. For the majority of the series, it was thought that only Nico Robin was the lone person in the world who could do so. We know that she learned the skill at the age of 8 on Ohara, and more impressively, she wasn't actually taught it, she just taught herself by spying on the scholars of Ohara in the Tree of Knowledge. People kind of sleeping on just how crazy smart Robin really is. Like, while rereading her flashback, I was also very surprised to remember that she passed a doctoral level archaeology exam at that young age as well. You will now address her as Dr. Nico Robin. The doctor will see you now. Now, due to Robin's ability to read the poneglyphs, her life was put in immense danger. Even as a child, being the last known survivor of Ohara, she was given a bounty of 79 million berries. She lived a life on the run from the government, both the Marines and the branches of Cypherpole, and had to elude them for literal decades. But she was also, and is still to this day, very desired by pirates, like Crocodile, who wanted to use her unique ability to increase his own power and, work on his own plans. However, during the Wano arc, we actually learned that Robin isn't actually alone in the ability to still read the ancient text of the poneglyphs. There's another person who can just read and understand the language, the former shogun of Wano, Oden's father, Momo's grandfather, Kozuki Sukiyaki, since he's part of the clan that originally made the poneglyphs himself, and they kind of passed it down through the generations, up until Oden, who didn't teach Momo, but maybe Sukiyaki will teach Momo now? I don't know. I think there's at least a good chance that he'll just pass on the family secret now to Momonosuke and his sister Hiyori as well. Then, during Eket Island, the poneglyph readers just kept coming, because if there was anyone in the world who could figure it out, it was of course the world's smartest man, Dr. Vegapunk, who also managed to decipher the poneglyphs based on the material that Jaguar di Sol managed to save from the ashes of Ohara. Though it turns out that some other emperors seem to have some alternative plans for how they'll decipher the poneglyphs, because it seems to some degree at least, characters who have access to the voice of all things also seem to be able to hear the message of the poneglyphs somehow. It's kind of unclear though what exactly that means and to what degree of precision that's possible. For example, Big Mom had incredibly high hopes for her daughter Pudding being the one to help her find Laugh Tale. As a half member of the Three-Eyed race, which we still don't really know that much about, and the only member to be shown so far in the story, Pudding is said to have a latent ability to hear the voice of all things. So far though, Pudding's been unable to awaken this power, but it seems that Blackbeard got the same idea because his crew has kidnapped Pudding, presumably I guess to use for the purpose of deciphering the poneglyphs for the big dog. Roger kind of makes me believe that this is not going to work that well because he also, of course, had the voice of all things. Rayleigh actually stated at some point that they were able to uncover the truth of the Void Century because of that ability, and it kind of sounds like he was able to decipher Big Mom's Road Poneglyph using it somehow. That being said, it feels a little bit contradictory to me with the entire Oden flashback because if you remember, in those chapters, it seemed more like Roger could use the voice of all things to locate the poneglyphs and get the rough gist of them. So I think it's possible that both of them were actually needed in different capacities. Roger used the voice of all things to help the crew find poneglyphs, while Oden then actually transcribed and translated the actual information written on the stones. Perhaps there's a little bit of a misdirection going on here maybe, and Blackbeard only wants Pudding for her ability to locate poneglyphs. After all, Oda has come out and said that if Blackbeard hadn't become a pirate, he would have become an archaeologist, so I wouldn't be too surprised to find out that he, could actually also secretly read the poneglyphs. Alternatively, he might not even want Pudding for her voice of all things abilities at all, but instead wants to get his hands on her absolutely busted memory manipulation devil fruit, and we're just kind of thinking it's for the poneglyphs. Whatever the case, putting together the Road, Historical, and the remaining poneglyphs, Oda's now shown us 14 of the total 30 that are spread across the world, though if we're being real, they're mostly spread out across the Grand Line it seems. I don't think we've seen a single one outside the Grand Line. And while we do know the actual contents of only very few of them, they've become more and more central of the story and will only continue becoming more important from now on. With only one Road Poneglyph remaining, the crew's getting closer and closer to the truth of the Void Century, a truth that may in part also be depicted on Elbaf's mysterious mural, and you can see my full breakdown of every single element in the mural and what it probably means in this video right here. Otherwise, thanks for watching, make sure to subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.